Have you ever wondered why some people struggle while others thrive? Is success only about luck, or is there a hidden rule that determines our fate? Imagine a man who spent his days begging on the streets, believing he had nothing to offer the world. But one conversation, just a few simple words, changed his perspective forever. This is the story of Oliver Shaw, a beggar who learned that life isn't just about asking. It's about giving. What he discovered not only transformed his own destiny, but holds a powerful lesson for us all. What we put into the world is what we get back. The smallest act of giving can open the doors to unimaginable success. Our perception of ourselves shapes the way the world treats us. This tale is more than just a folk tale. It's a reminder that we are never as powerless as we think. Now, let's step into the streets of London and witness the incredible journey of a man who went from begging for pennies to building a thriving business, simply by changing his mindset. In the heart of London, near the bustling Covent Garden Market, lived a beggar named Oliver Shaw. Every day, he sat outside a busy underground station, stretching out his hands to the well-dressed commuters hurrying by, hoping for spare change or leftover food. One afternoon, as a sleek black Jaguar pulled up to the curb, Oliver noticed a tall, refined businessman stepping out. His navy blue suit was sharply tailored, his shoes gleamed, and his leather briefcase hinted at wealth. This man looks successful, Oliver thought. If I beg from him, surely he will spare a generous amount. He hurried over, extended his hands, and pleaded, "Sir, could you spare some change?" The businessman looked at him thoughtfully. "You always ask from others, but have you ever given anything in return?" Oliver frowned. "Sir, I am but a poor beggar. I have nothing to give. How can I give to anyone?" The businessman smiled. "If you cannot give, you have no right to ask. Life works in balance. You must offer something to receive something in return." With that, he stepped into a waiting black cab, disappearing into the London traffic, leaving Oliver deep in thought. That night, Oliver lay on his usual bench in a quiet alley, unable to shake the businessman's words. Maybe I remain poor because I have never given anything in return. But what could a beggar possibly give? He owned nothing but his tattered hoodie and an old takeaway cup for collecting coins. The next morning, as he sat near the market, he noticed a flower stall nearby. The florist, a kind old woman, often dropped loose petals and imperfect blooms that no one would buy. An idea struck him. "I will give something, no matter how small." He gathered a few discarded roses and daisies and made a decision. "From now on, whoever gives me something, I will give them a flower in return." That day, as Oliver begged, he handed a flower to each person who gave him a coin. At first, people were confused. "Why are you giving me a flower?" a young woman asked. "Because you have given me something, so I must also give you something," Oliver replied. She smiled and tucked the flower into her handbag. Soon, other Londoners noticed this small act and found it charming. More people gave him coins, and they happily accepted the flowers in return. Day by day, Oliver's earnings increased, and his flowers became a beloved tradition near the station. People looked forward to his small gifts, and some even started giving him extra change just to receive one. However, Oliver noticed something strange. On days when he ran out of flowers, fewer people gave him money. The businessman was right, he thought. People enjoy giving when they also receive. One evening, as Oliver stood near the market, he saw the same businessman walking toward the station. This time, Oliver wasn't just waiting to beg. He was waiting to give. He stepped forward, smiling, and said, "Good sir, today I have something to offer you. If you give me a coin, I shall give you a flower in return." The businessman chuckled, reached into his wallet, and placed a £5 note in Oliver's hand. In return, Oliver handed him a fresh white rose. The businessman admired the flower. "Ah, now you understand. You have become a trader, just like me." Oliver's heart swelled with pride. "I am not just a beggar anymore. I am a giver." That night, Oliver looked up at the glowing city lights and made a vow. "I will no longer live as a beggar. I will build something greater for myself. With his savings, he bought a small wooden cart and began selling flowers instead of begging. Within months, he became the most well-known flower seller in Covent Garden. 6 months later, at the same station where he once begged, 2 well-dressed men greeted each other. One extended his hand for a handshake. "Do you recognize me?" the first man asked. The second businessman frowned. "I don't believe we've met before." The first man smiled. "Oh, but we have met twice. The first time I was a beggar who asked for your help. The second time I was a beggar who gave you a flower. And today I stand before you as Oliver Shaw, the owner of London's finest flower business." The second businessman raised his eyebrows. "You were the beggar?" Oliver nodded. "Yes, but I was never just a beggar. I was always a trader. I just hadn't realized it yet." He gestured to his thriving flower stall, filled with vibrant blooms. "People didn't give me charity. They were paying for the flowers I gave them. The moment I learned to give, my life changed forever." This story teaches us that giving is the first step to receiving. When we shift our focus from only taking to also offering something in return, whether it's kindness, effort, or value, we invite prosperity into our lives. Oliver's journey reminds us that success begins in the mind. If we see ourselves as beggars, we will remain beggars. But if we see ourselves as givers, as people with something to offer, we open the doors to opportunities we never imagined. No matter how little we have, we always have something to give.